Hello, welcome inside the Hero Press Box. We are back with what is this episode? This is 12, 13?
16.
Is it actually 16?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, time flies when you're having a terrible time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We have not a whole lot to discuss as far as breaking news, I guess I would say. Some breaking news per se that happened today was the U.S. roster was released for the upcoming Tournament of Nations. We went through last Sunday and talked about who we thought should be on the roster, created our own. And by the looks of it, it doesn't stray too far away.
Yeah.
I
thought we did a
assume.
pretty good job.
Yeah, I assume you're happy with it.
Oh, well, yes.
You have Campbell. You have Krieger.
I have Campbell. I have Krieger. So I'm super excited about that. The little thing I was surprised with is that we took 3 keepers, and that Sonnet still has not. I don't know if she's been called up yet this year. I think she may have.
Not this year.
Not this year. Okay.
That
to me, that's a little bit surprising. But other than that, I was not surprised. Huerta, the reason why she hasn't been called up, come to find out, in the Excel Sports article that just like lists the people who made the roster, is because she played with the senior team from Mexico. And so they're trying to get that switch over for her. But she's going to be training with us. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it sounds like next time could be these friendlies coming up in a month or so. And yeah, I guess I was going to talk about this at some point in the podcast, but now that we've already mentioned those friendlies coming up, I am going to try my hardest to get to Cincinnati September the 19th. So that would be pretty nice to see Rose and Sophia on the field at the same time.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty cool. You see, so I'm trying to figure out to go off on that tangent for a minute. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to sit. So those tickets range from anywhere from $25 to what is the highest now? The highest price that you can sit is best seats, $250. So
is that like right behind the bench?
Expect that. Section 106. I had a seat chart pulled up and kind of looking at it. Yeah, the $25 are in the corners.
Right.
So I don't know. I'll like 103 or 104, 106 sections. Those are $45. That's reasonable for me to go out there.
That's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, but I've never been to a U.S. game.
Oof.
So, yeah, that's probably as close as they're going to be without going to St. Louis or Indianapolis. So I need to do it.
They've come to Toyota Park. I saw them at Toyota.
And I guess that was only a few years ago, wasn't it?
That was after they won in 2012 in the Olympics. They had their celebration tour, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess I worked that day. I remember doing something because I didn't get to watch that game.
We scored in like the first 10 minutes. It was actually a pretty cool game. It was Germany, so it was 1 versus 2. I do believe they were 2 at the time.
Okay.
So it was good for a friendly.
Was it full, Toyota?
No? Not from what I remember. I'm trying to think. It definitely wasn't full. It was probably a decent crowd, though. They kind of hadn't hit that height yet that they are at now. I think now they would easily be able to fill up Toyota, depending on who they were playing.
So yeah, that Tournament of Nations starts next Thursday. They'll be playing into our time slot. So we had mentioned kind of live broadcasting, but not copyright infringement. But we're not lawyers, so it doesn't really matter, I guess. And we don't know any better, so we'll just probably do it.
What's interesting is that the Houston Dash are going to be without 6 players. So going back to Sunday night, where I was thinking that Portland was going to be in trouble, doesn't look like they're going to be in trouble. They've lost, at least to the American side, they lost Horan and Allie Long. I think that's all that was. Just trying to double check.
Was there no Klingenberg?
There's no Klingenberg. I do not believe. Let me double check.
Yes, so 6 players: Poliana, Andresina, Lydia, Carly, Brian.
Yeah, Campbell, Lydia.
Campbell.
Did you already say Lydia?
Yeah, so they're without a goalie.
We're without a goalie. We're basically without a team. If we're being, I mean, we've been playing without a team pretty much for the whole season, but we're really without a team now.
It'd be really nice to have Aaron Smith.
Yeah, I know. Yep,
This would be a good time for her to say, you know what, I am going to play.
I'm going to give it a go. Let me just come in 2 days before the game.
I mean, she can play forward if she wants. She can literally pick a position she wants to play.
That's very true. I would not be upset.
Were you looking something up on the dash or no?
No, I was just checking to see if Klingenberg made the team. She did not.
Oh, okay. She did not. Okay.
I was just double checking. But yeah, her and Sonnet were the 2 people that stood out to me that weren't on the list as far as people who made the team.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, did you have anything more to say on that?
On the roster?
Yeah, anything?
No.
As far as surprises who made the team, somebody who didn't make the team?
No surprises. Abby Smith is a third goalie, right? But I put Jane Campbell above her, so it's sort of the just in case third goalie.
Yeah.
And it's great. I mean, I like the move sort of in a Sammy Jo Prudhomme selfish way, in that now she has at least 2 games where she can play and start for the Breakers, because I think she eventually evolves into their starting goalie.
Yeah.
Is moved or let go, or sort of becomes this goalie that's left on the outside, which we've seen in that league a handful of times already.
Which it looks like it's happening in Houston.
Yep.
We're slowly transitioning over there. Which I thought was going to happen to begin with. Then they went back to Lydia. And now it seems, at least these last couple games, they're going to stick with Campbell.
Yeah, so we have a topic that kind of is a broad spectrum of the things we have to talk about for the rest of the episode, I would believe, for a good 20, 25, 30 minutes. But before we jump into that, I'll go ahead and just go through the scores of basketball and softball action. San Antonio Pride win again, beating Chicago 8-2 and then 3-0. The Bandits took 1 from Beijing earlier in the week, picking up a win in shutout form. The Charge scored 4 to Akron's 1. Taylor Gadboys' 3 for 4 day raised her average to 351 in the leadoff spot for the Charge. 9 WNBA games so far this week. San Antonio won by 24 over the Fever tonight. A balanced attack led by Isabel Harrison and Kelsey Plum. Indiana went 1-2 this week, falling to 8-13 on the season. That record is shared by Chicago, who beat Seattle and Los Angeles this week. Minnesota played once and won once. Maya Moore matched Skylar Diggins, both players with 23, and Sylvia Fowle recorded a double-double, 24 points and 12 boards. The Lynx have a 3-game lead headed into the break. The East plays the West Saturday, 2:30 Central Time on ABC. The 3-point contest will take place at halftime and feature Sugar Rogers, Maya Moore, Jasmine Thomas, Allie Quigley, and Sue Bird.
Quick note about scores. So I was watching that Seattle-Chicago game.
Yep.
And I know I sent you a message saying pretty much this game is over. You had sent back a message that said game over at the end of the first half. And 40 minutes later, get the notification that the Sky ended up winning. They were down, oh my goodness, they were at least 20 at one point in the first half.
So it was. I'm going to pull it up here real quick because I'm going to look at the box scores. Yeah, 29-11. Seattle was up at the end of the first half.
Okay.
Or first quarter, sorry.
Okay.
And then Chicago outscored them 30-13 in the second quarter. So this is, I mean, a huge 2 wins in a row for Chicago, and I think 3 straight to close out the first half after a move getting rid of Delle Donne in the offseason. Now this team is in 10th place, but as far as you can't ask for much more heading into the break. Maybe this team finally coming together. Allie Quigley realizing this is her team. I mean, her and Vandersloot. There's, Dolson solid in the middle, but as far as star power goes, and Vandersloot only had 2 points and 6 assists against Seattle.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get her average numbers up with Quigley's, and you're talking about a team that's going to make some headway down the stretch in the second half.
Yeah. I'm just checking the Mystics record, which is where Delle Donne went, and they are 12-9, second in the Eastern Conference.
Okay.
So they're doing. I apologize. They are tied for first in the Eastern Conference.
Okay.
With the Sun.
And yeah, I think I mentioned that I'm going to try to get to a Fever Sky game at the beginning of next month. So yeah, hopefully some good basketball to be played there. I know the Fever are on the opposite side of things right now. It seems last week or so, but the Sky at least, yeah.
Should be on the up and up from here.
Yeah, should be.
Should be.
So Sue Bird mentioned in the 3-point contest. She's part of our topic for tonight. Couple articles that we both read, some separately, some sent to each other. We both read, but it mainly has to deal with the kind of how these athletes are seen from the public eye, the perception that they are under. Stereotypes, I guess, is a word that, right? It's what it kind of seems like. Jumping to conclusions, what the society loves to do. And Sue Bird is probably the poster child for this conversation because of the article you sent me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Comments about that?
Yeah, I mean, it basically laid out that Sue was a person that really is more or less a private person. She's not that person who's going to be kind of all over your social media and posting on Instagram twice a day, times, and on Twitter all day long. And then she comes out and does this article and pretty much opens up and pretty much tells us, here it is. Here is who I am. And she just goes about her business in the most professional way ever. And I think that having someone like that to be essentially not just the poster person for your team, it's a poster person for the league, it's the poster person for women's sports in general, for great athletes in general as well. She's right up there with them. To not include her in that conversation, I think, would be doing a disfavor to her and to how she's handled herself on and off the court.
One thing I was thinking as I read that article we talked about last week, what franchise we would want to play for, and I guess I started to kind of lean towards Seattle just by reading that, and Sue talking about her loyalty to that franchise.
Yeah.
And the backing she felt she received from the city, and talking about how Stewart is there as a pillar for the future of the franchise. And it was a very very sentimental article going both ways.
Yeah. And I'm right there with you. Is who wouldn't want to play with Sue Bird? One of the best not just one of the best point guards to ever play the game, but one of the best players in general to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
She takes on that persona of being a leader, and she's been great at it for a number of years, going back into her college days even.
Mm-hmm. The line that I wrote down to say on here, and this goes along with the topic of that article. Bird mentions hearing Delle Donne be interviewed, and she talked about the casualness. Her word she used was the casualness of the conversation. She said the conversation of that topic was ordinary and comforting, which was right. I love to hear that. That's incredible, right. And for her to be able to feel like that, that's very comforting. That's the best word I would be able to use too. And every once in a while there's a glimpse of hope, light, right? And I guess that part of the article was that glimpse of light.
Agreed.
So another article that you sent to me was the golf attire.
Oh, yeah.
And was that LPGA or was that a specific tour?
Let me look it up, but I do believe it was LPGA.
Okay.
And I do believe the article was written by Sarah Spain.
Yeah.
And right. It was perfectly written. The way she wrote it to me was how she needed to write it.
Mm-hmm.
It was lighthearted but very serious at the same time.
Yep.
Kind of being like, do you guys really know what you're talking about?
What counts as the back end?
Yeah.
So there's new rules on the outfits of female golfers, and are they proposed or are they passed? I believe.
They're passed.
Longer skirts, no tights under the skirts. You can't have a low V-neck.
You can't wear leggings.
Leggings.
I don't even understand that. You can't even wear leggings underneath the skirt.
Yeah, right.
The skirt still has to be a certain length. So it was by Sarah Spain, and it is the LPGA. And her title was perfect too. Common sense should prevail when it comes to attire for women athletes. Yeah. Oh, really? Is that what we're supposed to be doing here? Using common sense? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Before you know it, we'll be back in 1750s.
Right. And she brought up what the PGA has as their kind of dress code, I guess, if you want to call it that by that. Part of it is clothing worn by players shall be consistent with currently accepted golf fashion. Golf attire and fashion is always changing and evolving. T-shirts, jeans, or shorts for players are considered, those are inappropriate, which is understandable. That's how golf is, whatever. But golf attire and fashion is always changing and evolving. And they should be consistent with what's currently going on. So as far as I know, it's not like they're walking out there in inappropriate, I guess whatever you would call inappropriate attire.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, come on. You have it in the PGA policy that it's adapting to what's going on at the time in golf. And that's the LPGA just went the complete opposite way with it. It kind of reminds me of high school.
Yeah, there was a rule that was my junior year when you can no longer show your shoulders in school. That became a rule.
In high school and in grade school, you could not show your collarbone, and I do believe shorts and skirts had to be, what was it? The furthest it could be away from your knee is 3 inches, I think is what it was. Which if you look what's out there, that's not happening. So
Ours was that you had to hold your arms down to your side and
yeah,
your shorts had to go down to your
okay,
fingers. So as long
okay.
as you had short arms, you could pretty much wear whatever you wanted, I guess. That was a foolproof plan.
Yep. Yeah. And it says what you brought up already, the bottom area. Well, what do you consider to be
Mhm.
what is that spot? And why is that such a, in a way, I guess, that's good that they use that because it's such an ambiguous term. So if someone were to go out there and say, I'm good to go, but an official says, no, you're not. I mean, you can't really complain with an official, but the player would have a point
Right.
because there's real no determination of what the bottom area is. And I know you pointed this out too, and it's in the article. Sepp Blatter's comment.
Yeah.
You know, if those shorts were just a little bit tighter and those shirts were just a little bit more feminine,
And he was talking about
people,
soccer players,
yeah,
right?
yeah, they would watch women's soccer players. I don't think we have a problem gaining an audience set, but thank you for your input.
He probably hangs out with the guy that courted Alex Morgan to go over and be on his team.
Yeah.
So that kind of led into a more um, darker research from me. And I came from the Excel site. And once this loads, I'll go through a little bit more, but for some reason it's not right now. And I'd sent it to you, and you said you didn't know what to think about it. And this was
Yeah.
about research done on a growing sexism in the media and commentators. Oh, this is great. There we go. Okay. So Think Progress is the site that's on, and it's not going to load now. There we go. Coming back still. We're
Got
still
it.
trying. No.
It's written by Lindsay Gibbs.
Yeah, the article is written by Lindsay Gibbs, and it's on research done by a Dr. Cynthia Frisbee.
Yeah.
And she compares 2012 Olympics to the 2016 Olympics, and with the help of a student at the University of Missouri, where she is a professor, associate professor at the University of Missouri, she compares from one Olympics to the other, 7 different categories of types of microaggressions is the way she describes them.
Yep.
And it's not a, let's see, in 2012, she found 69 cases of such compared to the 96 in 2016 that she sees. So, and she lists a couple of examples, but there's a clickable link in this article that takes you to a different site.
Did you take a look at that? I didn't.
I did. So I'll just read through them and you tell me when to stop. They're somewhat amusing.
Okay.
And you know, all these podcast radio shows go through a list. So this is an interesting list for us to do. Katinka Jesus broke a world record, but her husband was given credit.
Yep. I remember that. And I'm going to stop you there after the first one, of course. And that's brought up in the article too. And I remember hearing that and just being like, oh, I'm sorry. Was he the one swimming in the pool with her? Oh, I didn't know that he was the one standing up on the podium with her too. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying for me.
Quote, and there's the man responsible.
Yep. Oh, I remember being ticked off about that one.
3-time Olympian Corey Cogdell-Enreen was referred to as the wife of a Bears lineman. That's the headline of the Chicago Tribune article.
I'm going to stop you again. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, fine. Stop me. Yep.
First off, I feel bad for her that she has to be married to a Bears player. So we're just going to start there. But that is a pretty consistent thing throughout sports that I've seen. So if you see someone, if a female athlete is married to a male athlete, you're always seeing wife of instead of,
Mhm.
you know, it being the other way around, which is fascinating to me because, again, who is the article about?
Right.
Oh, the wife has a name. Okay, I didn't know. You could have used the name. At least use the name. You know, that's all you got to do.
No mention of the name. No mention. Yeah.
In the title of the article. Okay, sorry. Continue.
Fox News panelists debated whether female Olympians should wear makeup or risk looking like washed out rags. Quote, would you put your money behind a gal that won the gold medal that looks like a washed out rag?
Well, yes, if she won the gold medal. Like, what?
Commentators described the women's judo final as a cat fight.
Who was that? Who described it as a cat fight? Do we have
I
the
do.
person?
Let's see. Do not see a name.
Okay.
BBC Sport had a tweet and someone responded about their commentators calling it a cat fight.
Okay.
Talking about Katie Ledecky swimming like a man. Who? Let's see. Ryan Lochte said her strokes were like a guy.
Well, that's coming from Ryan Lochte. So, I mean, that could be alternative facts right there. So,
yeah,
because he's full of those.
Simone Biles was called the next Michael Phelps, and to which she responded, "I'm not the next Usain Bolt or Michael Phelps. I'm the first Simone Biles."
Yeah, I remember her saying
that. It says Twitter viciously body shamed gymnast Alexa Moreno for being 99 pounds, too fat for their liking. A commentator painted the gold medal winning women's gymnastics team as silly teenage girls.
Mm-hmm.
They might as well be standing around at the mall, is what his quote was. NBC said women don't like sports, they like reality TV. A BBC reporter forgot about Venus and Serena Williams' accomplishments. That was during an Andy Murray interview. They congratulated him, saying he's the first person to ever win 2 Olympic tennis gold medals.
Yep. I remember that one.
Katie Ledecky won a world record, and Michael Phelps won silver. But in the Associated Press article, the headline reads, Phelps ties for silver in a 100 fly. Then in half the size font, Ledecky sets world record in women's 800 freestyle.
Because that's not an incredible feat.
Right.
And she's winning by like lengths of a pool, half lengths. I mean, that's an exaggeration there, but she's winning by more than enough.
Yeah. A news outlet speculated volleyball player Kim Young Kong couldn't get a boyfriend because she was too tall. What else do we have? This commentator suggested tennis star Eugenie Bouchard was more interested in selfies and fashion than the Olympics.
Yeah.
He says, quote, and I go and look on her social media and she's holding pictures of herself. She's holding up the toothpaste and she's trying out different hairstyles. And maybe she wants something different than to be a competitor. And those go on and on.
Something different than being a commentator.
Yeah, there's a full page of that. I read about half of them.
Okay. That is fantastic. That is ridiculous. So the two things. Go ahead.
Yep, go ahead. No, you're all yours.
So one of the things is I was going to point out Katinka's husband being called the man responsible, and then the wife of Bears lineman Corey being called the wife of Bears lineman. So that was one thing I was going to point out, and I don't know how much, if you want to speak to any of that. That paragraph stuck out to me. And then the other paragraph, this is talking about Serena, is that she's often referred to as pummeling, overwhelming, and overpowering her opponents. And I read that as it being a negative thing. And I'm going to be careful with this in the way I say this, but I think it's a good thing that she's being called those things.
Right. Yeah. So this is Serena, right?
Yeah. I was wondering what your take was on that. Like there was that paragraph or two, because it was concerned about the violent imagery of it. And I was like,
so the very first thing I thought of, and I completely agree with you, and the first thing I thought of was Jack Johnson, the former boxer, the first ever African-American champion of the boxing world. And it's sort of the same way he was portrayed as, I mean, he was the giant ape and in the newspaper articles. And he was a big guy that beat the crap out of whoever stepped in the ring with him, and they didn't have a chance against him. He was an overpowering figure and a true power of the sport, sort of like Serena is. Luckily, we don't live in a world where she is racially profiled like Jack Johnson was. But as far as the power, I don't think it's necessarily a terrible thing. That's part of her game. I'm a Wozniacki fan, and she's not going to overpower somebody. She's keeping you on your heels, letting you beat yourself.
She's tactical.
Unlike Serena, who's going to hit winners down each line and not give you a chance to return.
Who's literally pummeling you, overwhelming you, and overpowering you. That's her game. And from the article, it just sounded, at least the way it was written, it sounded like it was a negative thing, and that this doctor who did this research took it as a negative thing and took it as a microaggression. And I guess, like I said, I'm being careful with this because people see it, they can see things differently, but I don't see it as that. I think it's a positive spin for her. It's she's dominating her sport, and the way she's doing it just happens to be by being powerful. That's her game. So to me, those are all positives for her, not any sort of negatives.
Yeah, I agree with that. I didn't take me long to come to that opinion that I wasn't sure that paragraph belonged in that article.
Yeah. Okay. I was just making sure it wasn't me in the way I was reading it. But I think that's like the next paragraph or two down, where it was saying that Kerber was described as the blonde lefty.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay. You know, again, she's got a name.
It's going to draw in a few more viewers, that the people out there that only want to watch lefties are the only people that want to watch blondes, then they'll turn in and watch her. So,
I mean, you're not seeing any articles for Nadal titled like long-haired lefty, like
tan Spaniard.
That's left-handed. You're just not. You're not seeing it.
Portuguese, right? I apologize. Yeah, it's whatever.
Awesome.
Well, so I'll break this to you and our vast audience that I'm not going to be available Sunday. I'll be in Springfield, Illinois.
Okay.
So I guess we'll do this again next Thursday, and then a week from Sunday I will be in Wisconsin. So I guess there's a chance that we could do this. We'll see how that goes, but we might miss out.
What day is that? Is that the 30th?
Yeah, it's
okay. So it's not this upcoming weekend, it's the next weekend.
Right.
And then you're that first week in August. Is it that whole week? Okay.
Yeah, Monday through Thursday.
Okay.
But one thing I want to let you know, and I sent you this a picture of me sending in my application. Were you laughing at me or laughing with me?
Well, if you were laughing, I was laughing with you.
Oh, I'm not laughing at all, because that was actually legit, and I'm supposed to be getting an interview soon.
I mean, you already interviewed for the commissioner of the NWSL, so.
Right. So how hard can a high school coaching job be?
Oh, it was a high school coach?
Yeah. What do you think it was?
I thought it was college.
Oh, no. Are you kidding?
Well, I assumed it was college. Thought you were just going for the big dogs right away.
Yeah. No, hopefully I'm going to say, my plan is to say I'm trying to model a program after Yvette Healy's Badger program. So hopefully they know what I'm talking about, but probably not. I know one of the ADs, so hopefully this is pretty simple.
So you got an in, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I have an in. Yeah.
All right.
So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, if that happens, if that happens, we might have to have a 5-10 minute segment for me to recap our team's week. So that might be on the docket upcoming. Anything else you wanted to go over tonight?
Not so much go over. For our one viewer out there, and for you as well, Clay, if you do not follow Bethany Maddox-Sands on Instagram or Snapchat, do so. She has got the series going called In Bed with Bethany. It is pretty freaking hilarious, if I do say so myself. Not just because I'm such a big fan of her, but it is actually pretty funny. So she's got family members coming like literally into bed with her because she can't really move around so quickly. And I think this next series is called Out of Bed with Bethany. And then the third series is going to be On the Baseline with Bethany for her return. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's actually pretty funny. Her husband, I do believe, is the one controlling all of this. He is pretty funny as well.
Okay, yeah, I'll look into that. That sounds funny.
But that's all that I have for tonight.
That's all you have? Okay, that is all that I have. Well, I mean, I have something else, but we'll get into that later, I'm sure. Especially after somebody, once there's a championship won or a gold medal or something similar won, that'll be a topic. But it kind of relates to one of the article headlines that I sent to you. But we won't touch that yet. Maybe something happens soon that we don't have to worry about it. But for now, we'll just leave it on my computer screen here. And as for this screen, thank you for stopping by the Hera Press Box.